You're welcome back to Morning Express. Now let's introduce our next guest here in the studio to speak on police reforms in Nigeria at a time when we are seeing retired police officers taken to the streets to protest certain pension schemes that they're not comfortable with. Now, these reforms we hope will bring about some sort of succor to a system that many believe isn't fair to some of its retired, personnel. In the studio here this morning, we have AIG Stanley Ude, they retired Deputy Coordinator Police Reform Secretariat, to discuss these very important issues with us. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for finding the time to come here on the program.
I appreciate you having me.
Well, I believe, much like myself, what our viewers this morning would want to know before we delve further into this conversation is, what is the Police Reform Secretariat, the PSR, and why is its creation very significant at a time like this?
Okay, thank you. The Police Reform Secretariat actually is a creation subsequent to the challenges we had during the NSAS protests. There have been accusations of police corruption, police brutality, and high-handedness in handling cases and situations. And the president, our commander-in-chief, as I then saw it fit to work to see how to improve the conditions of service delivery for Nigerians, so that we'll have a police that is responsible to the citizens, operating on international standards, and operating on modern premises. The reform process started with initiatives from government, bringing in the Ministry of Police Affairs, the Office of the Inspector General of Police, the Police Service Commission, the National Assembly, because we have the committees, the Senate Committee and the Assembly Committees on Police. And then you also have the CSOs and international partners that were brought in. Also all the stakeholders to look at the operating environment of the police, to look at the laws guiding the police operations, and the secretariat was set to be a coordinating and a documenting body for that reform process.
Now, all of these bodies that you have mentioned, including committees in the National Assembly, but the House of Representatives and the Senate. You've talked about the Office of the IG. You've talked about so many other stakeholders in this particular reform. Now, is the reform specifically to address the high-handedness, the accusations or allegations of high-handedness within the Nigeria police force, the allegations of corruption within the system, or is it also meant to address the issue of remuneration when it comes to servicemen?
Well, the reform was envisioned to be holistic. But, the last straw that broke the camel's back was the NSAS process. The committees were set up to review what led to the protest and the victims and all that. But the reform process was supposed to also take into account the conditions of service, the Police Act and Regulation, and the other legal instruments that are guiding police service delivery. But the key focus had majorly been on the process that will make the citizens more comfortable with the police. There has been aspects of the welfare that was also taken into account, and some of them have not come out full
blown yet.
But they have been in process, including, as you are asking, the issue about the retirement benefits, the service benefits of the police. Previous inspectors general of police and police administrations had made attempts to canvass for review. And government had, at one point in time, set up committees to look into those reviews. If I could recall, the last National Assembly looked at that and came to a point of recommending some major changes. That was part of what led to the review of the term of the Inspector General of Police, which was part of a larger,
holistic review. Now, while giving the background to what the PRS is, I don't think you gave us, the exact date of inception. When did it start? When was it first conceived? And what is the possible duration for all the deliberations, all the consultations with stakeholders, and finally the implementation of the PRS?
Well, the Police Reform Secretariat, actually, as it is servicing a component of the reform process, which is the component of service delivery to the public. But it's also supposed to help kickstart other processes that will make it a holistic process of reform, which is the welfare and long-term service package for police officers serving and retired. But currently, the Secretariat was subsequent to the request of our late President Muhammad Buhari, on the sidelines of one of the UN General Assemblies for international support to bring the Nigeria Police Force to a state where it will operate at international standards. And he had some interactions with the German Chancellor then, who took up the matter in 2021, and they started the process of, they accepted that the German government was to support part of the reform process, but their own was to support the process of rule of law and use of force and other changes that will make the police an inclusive, including gender issues, feminine, child rights, and human rights issues.
Are these supports also going to be in terms of funding?
Sure. It's funding, but not giving money.
Entirely. It's in terms of training and...
the funding assistance goes into packages that are implemented by the UNDP, United Nations Development Program, and then a German Security Sector Reform Foundation, we'll call it the GS Foundation, which is a global foundation. So they are the ones that are implementing the support process, assistance package from the German government. But there are other partners that are also contributing at one level or the other. The US, they were contributing to some of the support of the reform process. The projects that is targeted at when you talk about NSAS, subsequent to those protests, the police hierarchy dissolved the SARS. And
then converted it to SWAT.
Not converted.
Completely dissolved it.
It was completely dissolved.
So what is SWAT now?
So a new architecture for anti-riot and special intervention packages were introduced.
Now, sir, before you carry on, because this has been, a huge question mark on the minds of a lot of Nigerians, especially the younger demographic that was largely involved in the 2020 hashtag NSAS protest. We all know how it turned out eventually, and with the dissolution of SARS, like you mentioned, and the new structure being sprung up in the place of SWAT, many people believe that it was just a mere name change.
No.
Now that is the misconception or the myth I want you to clear up.
Now actually, with the dissolution of SARS, you have the introduction of the Special Intervention Squad, which was a retrained, reoriented special intervention team their trainings were carried out with the support of the US and the German government and contributions from some other partners.
Yeah.
And then you also have some other intervention units that are more intelligence focused.
Yes.
So those ones, we may not start reeling them out. But the major ones were the special intervention squads that were trained and deployed.
Yeah.
If you recall, about 2 years ago, there was a time we were having spate of kidnappings and issues around Abuja.
Yes.
It was the reconstituted, retrained special intervention squads that were deployed to handle that. And you saw within a space of a couple of weeks, less than 2-3 months, that particular phenomenon was properly handled.
Yeah.
So the essence was that the training and deployments of the special intervention squads will continue as funds are available, both from the government and from the partners. So as those ones are trained, they are extended to other states and other commands that have their needs.
Now the PSR, we understand, is meant to serve, the proposed Special Committee on Police Reform, which you have stated quite rightly here. Now, in practicality, what does the structure look like?
Of this?
Of the PSR.
Yes. PSR, okay. The PSR, as currently constituted, is a compact structure.
Okay.
Awaiting the full implementation of the Police Reform Committee, which is a government committee that is supposed to be set up by the federal government of Nigeria. But while awaiting the constitution of that Police Reform Committee, which the Secretariat
is a part of,
will
be a part of.
Okay. So by the time the committee is established, the Secretariat will also be reconstituted to take care of the full burden of the Secretariat. But currently, since there are reform processes going on, the Secretariat, as is constituted, is just a compact structure of term officials. The head of the Secretariat, which is Professor Olu Ogunshaki, the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Police Studies here in Abuja, and myself as the deputy. I will have a program director, I will have program officers, and then we'll have admin officer, and then some police attaché that are in the Secretariat. The Secretariat currently reports through the Office of the Inspector General of Police until when the federal government
constitutes the full Police Reform Committee.
So then they will have their structures and all the arms of the committee set up.
Okay. Well, interesting take. Let's still talk about the police reform itself, but this time around, when it comes to the Nigerian context, it's not news when I say that time and time again there have been a lot of misconceptions about the Nigeria police, about the officers themselves, about the structure itself, the allegations of corruption that you've mentioned, which the PRS is trying to address, via the setup of the Police Reform Committee, which will eventually be done by the federal government. But in terms of holistic police reform that relates to the ordinary Nigerian on the street, who should ordinarily see a police officer and instead of thinking of, oh, am I in danger, would rather think, thank God, I'm safe?
Well, we have the slogan that police is your friend.
Yes.
And in most instances, that is the case.
Okay.
But as we know, bad news sometimes sticks more than good news.
That's correct.
So you may have 1,000 good police officers, but a single bad police officer will be recognized, and what he did will be remembered more than all the good deeds that have done over the years. If you recall, in a community where there is safety, a lot of the time you don't remember that the police is working. until there is an incident.
And then you ask,
and then say, where is the police? The police had always been there. But if the criminals are able to break a little gap in the policing architecture, then people will start shouting. And so the same thing, the police is doing a very excellent, most of the time, thankless job. They keep awake in the night, in the sun, in the rain.
Always out there.
Always out there. And it's not only the Nigeria Police Force. You also have some other services that are also playing some police roles.
Okay.
The civil defense, the immigration service, the customs service. So they are playing some aspects of the policing
roles.
So if you are at the border, it's not the regular Nigeria Police Force that is playing the prominent policing role. It's supposed to be the immigration.
The immigration.
They are the ones that will check travel documents and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and when the borders are porous, you have to also look at what are the immigration doing, what is our immigration policies.
Yeah.
Now, when there is smuggling, it's not just the Nigeria police that will tackle that. You look at customs. What are the policies and the architecture for our customs? Because they're also playing an aspect of the policing role.
Yeah.
Now, the federal government deemed this fit to establish the National Security and Civil Defense Corps to look at national assets.
National assets.
Yeah. Now, those assets they are protecting. It's part of policing role, and traditionally had been a policing role.
Yeah.
And the police has not shirked that responsibility. Will still complement in protecting those efforts. National assets.
Yeah.
So work jointly. Joint patrols and things like that. So, to directly answer your question, the reform process is looking at making the police understand their roles, making the police understand how they can operate with minimal logistics that is available, making the police work with the community.
Yes.
And that is why part of the arms or the key legs of the reform process is the community policing program. The community policing project had been in the process for the past decade. There have been different models that have been canvassed.
Yeah.
But of recent, the federal government had put a lot of interest in that, and the police are working with our partners to develop a homegrown community policing program where the community, they are working together with the police to secure their communities. And it's interesting that of recent we've seen even the defense chiefs canvassing that communities should work together with the security.
Indirectly, are you calling for community policing or for state policing?
No, it's not state policing.
Community policing.
It's community policing.
Okay.
There is a difference between calling for state policing and canvassing for community policing.
Okay.
Whether there is state policing or the
not.
structure as it is now, everybody must canvass for community policing. Because the number of personnel that are in the policing service, I'm not just talking about the Nigeria Police Force. They are not enough to police all our communities.
I was going to come to that in just a moment, but with the current statistics that we have, there is an estimated police to citizen ratio of approximately 1 officer to 600 citizens in the country. Now, with a population of 220 million people, roughly, and a police force of slightly over 370,000 officers, the UN benchmark, which you had, is about exactly. So we technically need roughly 120,000 more personnel within the Nigeria Police Force alone to be able to meet that benchmark.
Benchmark.
How has that been coming along? And how is the Nigerian police doing anything in order to make itself or make the force itself attractive enough to pull in this almost 120-something thousand more personnel? And also, does it have the structure to maintain and retain these extra officers if eventually it does hire them?
Okay, I will ask that you restructure your question, or maybe you repackage it, because you are asking the police to produce the personnel that will do policing.
Well, I'm not saying they should produce. I'm saying
because that's the tone of your question. But I get to
let me digress a little bit. Some couple of months back, the Nigerian Army was complaining that in the southeast, there has been a record low, an all-time low of individuals wanting to join the Nigerian Army or any armed forces at all, right? We are not relating that now in relation to that, to the in relation to that particular story in the Nigerian police force. We've had individuals saying they don't want to join the Nigerian police force because of what they see from the outside, because of the corruption that you have mentioned that you're trying to address. So it's that attraction that I'm talking about. How is the Nigerian police trying to attract people to it?
I will still answer your question.
Okay.
They say that a society produces the police it deserves. So the people that will police the Nigeria of today are not to come from Niger or from Chad or from Jamaica or from the US or from China.
They are still Nigerians.
They are still to come from Nigeria. At least we have not come to a point where we need to start advertising for green visa for people to come and join the Nigeria police. No, we still have enough Nigerians that are capable of policing Nigeria. But on the other hand, what are the terms of service that will make a young graduate of computer science, to make a young graduate of engineering, to make a young graduate of theater arts, to make a young graduate of any of the social sciences come out and he's offered a job in your company or in a bank or in an oil company, and then he has opportunity to also join the police. And you say, hi, I have 3 job offers.
Let me go for the police.
Let me go for the police. I think, so it's not the Nigeria police that will create that situation.
Who would?
It's the federal government and Nigerians themselves. Now, take it back to our last discussion about community policing. We've had places where Nigerian police officers serving clamor to go to. And there are some other places they don't want to be posted to serve. Why? The environments, they differ. Where you have a community that is receptive of the police that are serving them. Where you have a community that are ready to support the police that are serving them. The average policeman will want to go and work in that community.
Because of the reception.
Because of the reception, because of the job satisfaction. But where you have a community, you are doing your best, and they are seeing you as an enemy rather than a friend. It will become difficult for you to have job satisfaction. The sacrifices you're making are seen with a different lens. But where you serve with integrity and you are recognized that, yes, you have served. You are a human being. You have some flaws, but you've given your best. There is no police officer that will not do the best. And that is part of what is driving
the PRS.
No, I'm not talking of PRS now. That is part of what is driving away our youth
from the police,
joining both the security and some policing service. But interestingly, if you advertise today for recruitment in the police, I can assure you, because I've gone out on a couple of the assignments on recruitment, there is no part of Nigeria you will not get the quota of qualified Nigerians.
They will still apply.
You always have. Presently, I think they are working on the police academy recruitment. You will need like 1,000, and then you have 30,000 applying. Are those 29,000 that will not get the academy enlistment? Are they fools? Is it not the same police?
It is the same police.
Then why do we say that? Well, it's not difficult to get Nigerians to join. But part of the challenge is that we may not get the best that we target. Like I said, it's not only of the police, it's also affecting, you've mentioned the military.
Yeah.
So what has the military not sacrificed to get Nigerians to?
So now it's a question of positive image. It's a question of good image. You know, while we also blame the community members, or some community members for their hostile behavior towards you know, servicemen who are sacrificing a lot to ensure their safety and the safety of their property. It is also on the part of the police to ensure that in terms of orientation, there is proper orientation of these community members. There's proper orientation of Nigerians in certain you know, corners of the country who have misconceptions about the Nigerian police.
And that is the essence of the community policing as part of the reform process.
Interesting.
That the reform process is building the concept of community policing.
Yeah.
Packaging it, not just the old model of raising community vigilante to work with the police. No, that is not the full package of community policing. You have modern issues of engagement. One of the major areas that police is criticized is in their use of force. In the past, we used to hear kill and go. But we used to hear about stray bullets. But in the past 2-3 years, have you been hearing frequent cases of...
It has indeed stemmed down quite largely.
So that mentality of the image that police kill and go, especially the mobile police forces, is gone. And the same way, the reform process is not stopping at that. At the community level, presently, you have ICT, you have technology, you have artificial intelligence in modern policing. And that is now being canvassed into community policing. Now you think of public relations, public engagement, de-escalation of conflicts.
Because I was just about to ask the specific strategies that are in place. You know, should the committee be eventually set up and the secretariat comes into, you know, full functionality, what policies or strategies rather are in place to ensure that it achieves the policy coherence and also avoids duplication of efforts, so it doesn't appear that you are doing the same thing, another commission is doing the same thing, another commission is still doing the same thing.
When we'll get to the bridge, we'll know how to cross it.
But you can give us a sneak peek.
No, let me learn first.
Okay.
Because the present Police Reform Secretariat is supporting the reform process that is ongoing. Actually, we are in the fourth phase of the German federal government funded support for police reform. And they call it SPAT. Supporting Police Accountability and Transformation Program. So that program, like I was saying, one of the legs is community policing. Another is change management. We are talking about gender inclusivity. We are talking about tackling gender-based violence. We are talking about intelligence-led policing. We are talking about smart AI-assisted policing. So all these are areas that the reform process are chipping into with the resources available. Currently, the community policing program has a pilot project here in Abuja, in Gariki area. So officers have been trained, basic policing tools have been provided, community engagement is going on, and with that pilot, lessons will be learned. How did it go? What worked well? What didn't work so well? Where are areas that we have gaps? How do we fill those gaps? And when that pilot is completed, which I believe in the next 6 months, don't will be completed because it started a couple of months ago. When that pilot is completed, then we'll go back to the drawing board and then review it before they roll out to other commands and states. So the process is going on. They say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. It may be baby steps, but with time and with traction, when we have the low-hanging fruits and we're able to pick them, even the Secretariat as it is doing a lot.
Yeah.
I've we've had capacity building in gender issues. We're working on transforming, reforming, and building a new curriculum for training of our recruits, so that all those issues about human rights abuses, about
will be tackled
from the inception.
Yeah.
As they are getting in, their orientation will be directed aright. The modern policing tools, they are introduced into it.
Yes.
So that it's not when they are already on the job, you are not introducing some things when others are already 10 miles ahead of them.
Yeah.
So those are the processes that are going on. We've trained police officers on leadership and change management.
Yeah.
Well, over 200 officers have been trained on that. We've trained police officers on gender mainstreaming. Currently, like I mentioned, we have the UNDP, and they also have the GS Foundation. They are pushing different streams of the reform process. The police training institutions have been, with the support of the German funding, a good number of the institutions have been refurbished to make them decent places of training. They provided training halls, hostels, and some places that they didn't have boreholes, they provided that. Now, they've provided equipment to our legal department so that the lawyers are not just dependent on the hard copy. So they can use online tools, and then they can archive their records appropriately without depending on hard copies. So
all of these items that you have listed out, quite very wonderful steps that you're taking, by the way, that the PRS is taking in order to ensure a holistic reform of the Nigeria police force and a reorientation of fresh recruits, tackling the issue from the root cause, from inception. When you mentioned community policing, I was just wondering, is there room for community engagement in terms of, via traditional rulers, via traditional institutions, via religious institutions, town hall meetings and all of that, in order to also engage community members while the reforms are ongoing within the system? There is also some sort of information being given out to community members all over the country that, look, this is a new Nigeria police force that is emerging.
Well, thank you for that question. Like I noted before, every society deserves the police it gets.
Yes.
So a vision of the new community policing project is that the community owns it, that the security of the community is the responsibility of the community. The police and other stakeholders will work together, whether they are traditional leaders or youth leaders or religious leaders or external partners, that everybody puts hand on the deck, that the community is properly secured. The interactions, like de-escalating crisis, a lot of the time is misunderstanding. But when you have the community, why should the youths go and destroy government projects in their community and then be fighting police?
That's an error.
It's an aberration. But when you understand that police is here to protect the projects that are in your community to serve you, the youths will be guarding those projects. So if youths are guarding the government projects in their community, will the police be fighting them?
Certainly not.
So they will be working together. So they are, like you said, the reorientation is not just working on police officers. It's working on the community, understanding the police understanding the community
as well.
The customs of the community. Like one of the trainings we had we had a particular scenario that one of the participants presented. He was not from a particular place where he was deployed. And he, after the training, they reported to him a case of domestic violence. It was the husband that reported. And he went to the house, a man, without going with a lady.
Yeah.
And it was two wives
that
were quarreling.
Okay.
So as he stepped in, and he was asking the woman, the one that was reported that was that aggressed the other.
The other.
So he said, you are invited to come to the police station. The woman, looked, where are you from? So no, you have to go with me to the police. As he touched her, the woman
slapped him.
So how dare you touch me? You are not my husband.
Customs of the land.
Customs in that particular area. Yeah. A man is not supposed to touch a woman, especially a married woman, for that matter. So, but himself, because he didn't understand the situation,
yeah,
he needed to be oriented appropriately.
And that's why community policing itself is important.
So that issues like that, if not properly managed,
yeah,
if that report had come from some other person outside the head of the family, it would have degenerated into something more serious, because the husband will now be quarreling that the police came to embarrass his wife.
But he was there.
But in this particular case, yeah, it was a bit amenable that it was the man that reported and the man was present,
yes,
when the incident took place. So cases like that is just the example of the need for community understanding and community orientation of police officers, and the understanding of policing by the community also.
Now, I think you have done justice to these strategies, which you have said that when we get to the breach, we will cross them. But in terms of accountability, yeah, are there mechanisms in place still within the PSR while you are educating, while you are reorienting the police officers? Are there mechanisms in place to hold defaulters accountable? If you have been given orientation, if reforms have been made, and definitely there will always be deviants, even within the Nigerian police force, is there anything in place to checkmate that?
Thank you. Well, we need to understand the Police Reform Secretariat is not taking any role of any of the stakeholders. So
we are now back to the duplication of roles.
No, it's not duplication of role.
Okay.
The Office of the Inspector General of Police has its responsibilities, yeah, in supervising, deploying personnel. The Police Service Commission has the constitutional responsibility of the promotion, the welfare, and the discipline.
Yes.
Recruitment, promotion, welfare, and discipline of police officers, with the exception of the Inspector General of Police.
Yes.
So if there is issue of accountability, it will start depending on the area where that accountability is needed.
Yeah.
The person that deployed, is it the DPO, is it the sectional head, is it the Inspector General of Police? The administrative process will check up. If a person is found culpable, then administrative processes are put in place to either try the person, query the person, and deal with the person. If it is not an administrative operational problem, if it is tantamount, the investigation reveals that it's a criminal offense, yeah, then it now gets to a point where the person, after going through the administrative process, may be dismissed and then presented for prosecution
in court.
Now, the Police Service Commission have their role that when the administrative process from the police is engaged, yeah, they are informed. If an officer is queried, the circumstances of his answers the query, the file are packaged and transmitted to the Police Service Commission, which is an independent umpire responsible for the discipline handling of such cases. Yeah. So they will, on their own, investigate. they ask their administrative help. If they need the police to support or some other agency to support, if there is a criminal offense, if a police officer travels overseas and commits an offense there, the Police Service Commission here may not have all the capacity to travel overseas to investigate that.
Yeah.
And so they will engage the mission there. They will engage some other services. They will work with the Inspector General of Police, who is the direct operational supervisor of the... So it's not the Police Reform Secretariat brings together
all these components.
All these components
Okay.
To support, like I say, support all the components, whether it's the Office of the Inspector General of Police, or from the Office of the National Security Advisor, or from the police Ministry of Police Affairs.
So their duties specifically meant for the Office of the IG, the Office of the NSC, and all of that. That the PRS can at some point handle.
No.
If it's delegated it's delegated the duty.
No. Like I told you, the PRS
so
is just a secretary.
In terms of support, what is that support exactly?
Okay.
Because you keep mentioning all these institutions, the Office of the NSC, the Office of the IG,
they are all
with their own responsibilities.
Established.
Exactly.
And
so how are you supporting them? How is the PRS supporting them?
Now, the PRS, Police Reform Secretariat,
yes,
is just a secretariat to document and coordinate the reform process.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to play the role of the Inspector General of Police, or the role of the Police Service Commission, or the role of the National Security Advisor, or that of the Minister of Police Affairs, or any of our supporting partners, but to coordinate efforts from the Office of the Inspector General of Police,
yes,
to whom we are reporting through even now, the Ministry of Police Affairs, the Police Service Commission, the National Security Office of the National Security Advisor, the Governors Forum, the National Assembly. So they played their constitutional roles, but to make sure that the reform process is integrated, that the Ministry of Police Affairs is not doing something and then maybe the Governors Forum wants to do something similar.
Else,
So if they initiate it, that's well and good. The more the merrier. But the Secretariat will now document, yes, Ministry of Police Affairs, they are doing this. Ministry of Police Service Commission, they are doing
now
this.
Is
and then call the attention of the hierarchy of those. Sir, you are doing this. This person is doing this. I hope you are talking to each other.
Oh.
We have recorded that this person has trained 20 policemen.
Yes.
Yeah, and you want to train some other 20 policemen. These are the 20 policemen that this person has trained. It's either you are training them on a higher level, or this training is extended to some other 20 so that they benefit.
In other words, accountability and support as well.
So that whatever is being done is coordinated. If there is funding assistance from the German government, and presently the federal government, through the Office of the Inspector General of Police, they are discussing with the British government. They have shown some interest to also support in the rule of law process. So if that funding comes, the Reform Secretariat will also be talking with the UK officials that will be delivering that assistance. That currently we are working with the German officials through UNDP and the GS Foundation. So it's not that the Secretariat will now take over and go and start supervising policemen outside. No.
Now, before we wrap up, we have just about 5 minutes to wrap up this conversation. So in terms of balancing political engagements now with genuine grassroots demands for police reform, how do you marry these two? I just want to give you also an illustration where somebody said that if someone is shouting thief in the market, and eventually a policeman, now this is a story I heard, when a policeman asks, oh, how much, instead of the policeman going after the thief, the policeman will ask, how much did he steal? So that he would decide whether he should run after him or be his bodyguard. Now, this is the general notion out there. Now, in relating this to political engagement and also all of these things that we've been talking about, how do we marry these two and balance it out in such a way that the police carries out its duty without fear or favor, be it to the common man or to the high end, and mighty?
Yeah, thank you. The police has its constitutional role to investigate and to prosecute offenders, to protect lives and property, and other tasks that the government gives it. Now, the illustration you gave, in the market, somebody is shouting thief, thief. The policeman is 200 meters away. The citizen, that's part of our community policing.
Exactly.
The citizen has the responsibility to restrain the thief.
Prior to when the policeman
Prior
comes.
to the arrival of the police. The citizen has a general right to arrest a criminal.
Or restrain now.
Or arrest.
Restraining is arresting, that's right.
So, to arrest a criminal. But the responsibility ends at his taking that criminal and handing over to the appropriate authorities.
Whether on the spot or at the police station.
It depends. If you don't have a policeman in the vicinity, you may not keep yourself and the criminal there. What do? You seek support and move the criminal to the police. And then report his conduct and give your statement as a witness. Not just dump the criminal with the police and then disappear. I don't want to talk, but in the first instance, you are the one that brought him. So, and that answers the second part of your question. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the time, the police is given a task that sometimes it will be magicians that are expected to perform that.
What sort of tasks?
Now, the illustration you gave. Yes, he's thief. He's a thief. See him, arrest him. And the police, maybe to quickly intervene, arrest the man. And then he's left with the man. Who did he steal from? Nobody shows up. What did he steal? Nobody shows up. How did he steal it? Nobody gives that information. How do you want the police to solve that case? The police interrogates the person denies.
And it ends up in bail.
So, and before you know it, some persons are waiting. The police has already infringed on the rights of this citizen. And then the police is in the middle of a brewing crisis. And the person has a constitutional right to be released on bail. And the police seeks for a surety and releases the man on bail. And then tomorrow somebody, we arrested a thief and handed to police, and the police released him.
Now, I'm glad you are clearing this misconception. I'm really, really happy you are clearing the misconception. Because part of the many misconceptions, part of the many misinformation about the Nigeria police force is that is why at some point jungle justice was at an all-time high in Nigeria. When a thief is caught or a criminal is caught, don't take him to the police, because eventually he will get out after handing them some.
But it's not only the police responsibility. Police, a lot of the time, will prepare the case and charge the matter to court. Now, today, if you check the records, awaiting trials, detainees in our correctional centers are 2-3 times the number of convicted criminals. And some persons have been on awaiting trial for 5-6 years. Some
even more.
Some even more. Some beyond the term if they had been convicted. So the police have their role to play, but the judiciary, they also have their role to play. So it's something that the whole law enforcement and prosecutorial and justice system has to be reviewed. That courts, how do we decongest our prisons? And government has to look into that. So it goes beyond the police. And a lot of the time, like I mentioned, the police, they will charge the matter to court. And then the courts are waiting for witnesses to come and testify, for complainants to come and testify. And the person that is supposed to give witness or testify say, I don't want wahala again. The man is now with yes. And I have my business. So that citizen responsibility is also something that is important.
All right, so I think it's a fine place to leave the conversation here. It's been wonderful speaking to you, AIG Stanley Ude, retired. Thank you so much, and we wish you luck with your
Police Reform Secretariat.
Police Reform Secretariat, should the Police Reform Committee be eventually settled. We hope to have you back here in the studio next time to give us better news and more information.
Thank you. Even before the committee is set up, we'll still have the reform process going on. The Office of the Inspector General of Police, the Ministry of Police Affairs, the Police Service Commission, the Office of the National Security Advisor, and our partners, they're all working to inject the reform in the police force to give us the police of our dreams. So thank you for having me, and wish to be with you soon to share some of the good news of the results of the reform process. Our recruitment will soon be launched for constables, for cadet officers is ongoing, but when that is done, I believe we'll come and share the good news of the transformation of the repackaged training manuals that the Secretariat is working on. The difference it will make on the new recruits.
Well, we'll be looking forward to all of that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, quite a handful there. AIG Stanley Ude, retired, Deputy Coordinator, Police Reform Secretariat, giving us information about what the PRS is and what it hopes to achieve, especially within the Nigeria Police Force, and also on matters of community policing and community engagement, to rid the Nigeria Police of some certain bad elements and misconceptions. I believe this is as much as time will permit for us to take on this particular episode of Morning Express. At the top of the hour, it will be time for ADBN Sports with Samuel Adeleke. My name is Chijioke Okafor. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.